And then at what point did Ken come in? So you had already shot the pilot, and then so you guys didn't know who your Spanish teacher was going to be. And then all of a sudden, did you just walk in and there was Ken, and you're like, shit, scene stealer to the max?
No, you immediately are just like, oh man, I saw that dude naked. That's what I immediately thought. I was like, oh man, like how many times when you walk into a job and you meet like your coworker and he's like, I've seen you totally naked already.
Are you still seeing that way now?
That's not, and like, but no, he's like.
It really only happens at Bennigan's.
Yeah. only on Community and Bennigan's does that happen. And Ken's like a genius, you know. He's like, Ken just can make, you know, he makes funny wherever he goes. He's really not afraid to try new stuff, which is
he casts a wide net.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Wide.
Well, the same goes for Donald is a genius. Donald will make us. I think he keeps us sane on the set in between takes. That Donald will improvise these characters. There's so many characters that Donald does, and it's not related to the scene. It will just keep us in stitches. And I don't know if I can share out. Well, maybe you can say it better than me.
They're not gonna make any sense. You can.
I know. It's not funny out of context.
This is like black comic E.T. doesn't make any sense. No one here. Everybody in the audience is like, what does that mean? It's E.T. being a black comic. That's what it is.
It's like the E.T. black E.T.
No, please. I want to.
Yeah, we want to see.
What about
I want you to do black.
What about Crying Magician?
Do the crying
Do the crying magician. I don't have any cards.
Is there a deck of cards?
Just pretend you have a deck of cards. I'll do black comic.
Well, someone
Right,
gets a
do
deck
black
of cards. Well, we're just having a Donald thing. Like I wanted to point out when we watched the end of that episode, the Ernie and Bert thing. Okay, haha, Ernie and Bert, like that was an idea we came up with. We got to try that. Anthony was shooting it, and we came up with the stuff on the set that they're doing. Donald, and I actually think you guys might have been laughing, and some of it might have gotten buried. Donald came up with the idea that partway into this thing, after they're done eating the cookie, he goes, "Oh, my cousin's funeral is in a half hour." And then he and Danny did the rest of it. That's the funny part of it. And it's like I quickly became, halfway through this season, I became acquainted with the fact that the best favor I could do my show is to write lukewarm crap and send it down to the set. If Donald was going to be down there, and that they would figure it out. So I did, but maybe I thought maybe a deck of cards would come up and you could do E.T. doing a magician or whatever.
No, it's really fun because because I come from like YouTube and stuff like that, and YouTube and
you come from YouTube?
I came from YouTube.
How does Atlanta?
Everyone. I am from the future.
YouTube is a planet.
There are many things, most of them having to do with poop. It's really nice being on this show, especially like coming from a background of doing like internet stuff and 30 Rock. A lot of people come to me and just like, oh, which one do you like more, like writing stuff? And I really I have to say, just being on the show, I've never had to choose just because like they're so, like the scripts are already like so tight and funny, and then they ask us to like every once in a while, like the best, like I was saying this earlier tonight, the best thing I ever heard is like when Joe or Anthony is just on set and they say, Donald, go crazy. And they just let me do it, and it's like the most fun ever because it's just, you already know it's funny because the writers already made it funny and Dan has already given the check mark on it, and then you get to do whatever.
And it's also, from a writing perspective, to write a joke and know that you give it to any of these actors, they're going to make it better. And so it makes our job easier, so it works. We'll go to editing and we'll, maybe see an improv line that we aren't familiar with, and it's just kind of such a great moment, and it's happening more and more because I think you're getting more comfortable with it. Yeah, and it's just the improv lines are becoming more and more a part of the show.
Well, yeah, because you're very humble about that. I mean, it's it's interesting to watch people come out of their shells too, because you see evidence all the time of how smart Donald is and how funny he is, but he's also so polite and sweet. And I don't, it's interesting to.
Me and Dan are engaged. we didn't want to say it before.
I am very enamored with you.